Florida's HB 1557, also known as the Don't Say Gay bill, should never have been passed and should never have been signed into law. Our goal as a company is for this law to be repealed by the legislature or struck down in the courts, and we remain committed to supporting the national and state organizations working to achieve that. We are dedicated to standing up for the rights and safety of LGBTQ+ members of the Disney family, as well as the LGBTQ+ community in Florida and across the country. Hello, everyone. My name is Swamp. Now, this is actually going to be a tough video for me to make because I'm sure, like most Americans, Disney has been a huge part of your life. I mean, growing up, and especially if you have kids, you've been showing them your favorite Disney classics and things like that. I mean, it's been generation upon generation an American staple. I mean, Mickey used to be the king, man. But unfortunately, this is what they've done to him. God, the poor bastard. And they're making me actually fall on the side of the villagers and Gaston in Beauty and the Beast.
Bring your guns, bring your knives, save your children and your wives, will save our village and our lives.
It might be time for us to finally admit that it is time to kill the beast. Christopher Rufo says on Twitter, I've obtained video from inside Disney's all-hands meeting about the Florida Parental Rights Bill, in which executive producer LaToya, I'm not even going to try to say that, says her team has implemented a not at all secret gay agenda and is regularly adding queerness to children's programs. And before I start showing all these clips, I just want to say this is what it looked like. You know, they got it set up like one of those White House briefings with the guy doing sign language in the corner. God, that is annoying. And how much you want to bet that nobody in this meeting needed someone doing sign language? But that's beside the point. So I'm going to crop all that out and just show them, just FYI.
I'd heard things like, oh, you know, they won't let you show this at a Disney show. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little like sus when I started. And
you just said sus in real life. I already don't like you.
Our leadership over there has been so welcoming to like my like not at all secret gay agenda. And so like I feel like I felt like it was, I mean, like maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess like something must have happened in the last like they're turning it around, they're going hard. And then all that like momentum that I felt, like that sense of, I don't have to be afraid to like, let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background, like I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to like if you see anything queer in the show, I'm proud of them. But like, I just was like, no one would stop me and no one was trying to stop me.
I've honestly been racking my brain to come up with something funny to say about this, and I've got nothing. This next person is Disney corporate president Carrie Burke.
I'm here as a mother of two queer children, actually, one transgender child and one pansexual child.
Wow, they're both LGBTQ. What are the odds of that? Well, actually pretty good, because it seems like maybe parenting is somehow involved in this, but, you know, I'm not a bigot, so I'm not gonna comment.
I feel a responsibility to speak, not just for myself, but for them.
Again, I'm not gonna comment on both of her children being LGBTQ, but let's be real. This is for you. Yeah, it has more to do with you. It's called virtue signaling.
One of our execs stood up and said, you know, we only have a handful of queer leads in our content. And I went, what? That can't be true. And I realized, oh, it actually is true. We have many, many, many LGBTQIA characters in our stories, and yet we don't have enough leads and narratives in which gay characters just get to be characters and not have to be about gay stories. And so that's been very eye-opening for me.
This has been very eye-opening for a lot of us. I can assure you of that. And how exactly do you have a gay character without addressing their gayness? How do you know? How would you know? How would a person know watching it that they are gay unless it was specifically brought up, or you showed them doing some kind of same-sex interaction that would be inappropriate for children? I'm just curious. I don't really get that. I mean, unless you went the stereotypical route and they came floating in like a little fairy and danced around and were like, yes, girl, then maybe. But that's offensive, right? Because that's a stereotype, and that's not nice. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what you mean by this.
And I can tell you, it's something that I feel perhaps had this moment not happened, I as a leader and me as my colleagues would not have focused on. And going forward, I certainly will be more so. I know that we will be, and I hope this is a moment where, the 50% of the tears, sorry, are coming. We just don't allow each other to go backwards.
If this is something that Disney really believes in, please, I encourage you to scream it from the rooftops, because I don't think this is going to play out the way that you think it's going to play out. This next person is Disney production coordinator Alan March.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of working with the Moon Girl team for the last 2 years, and they've been really open to exploring queer stories. And I'm on the production side. Part of the work that I feel like I can put in is making sure that we take place in modern day New York. So making sure that that's like an accurate reflection of New York. So I put together like a tracker of our background characters to make sure that we have like the full breadth of expression.
Tracking background characters to make sure that you have the full breadth of expression. First of all, I wish you would tone down your expression, because it's all in my face right now, and you need to dial that back a little bit. Second of all, no wonder Disney hasn't made a good movie in years. This is what you're dedicating time to? Representation in background characters. When you're right, you're right.
And we got into a very similar conversation, Carrie, of like, oh, all of our like gender nonconforming characters are in the background. And so it's not just a numbers game of how many LGBTQ plus characters you have. We got the further, the more centered a story is on a character, the more nuanced you get into their story. And especially with like trans characters, you can't see if someone is trans. There's not one way to look trans.
There may be more than one way to look trans, but there definitely is a way to look trans. And did you hear how many times this guy keeps doing the click thing? This guy 100% has a TikTok account. Guarantee it.
And so kind of the only way to have these like canonical trans characters, canonical asexual characters, canonical bisexual characters is to give them stories where they can like be their whole selves.
And I'm still waiting for an explanation as to how you do that without bringing up sex to an 8-year-old. And I am not getting any answers here. So I'm starting to think there's only one way to do it. All right, and this next person has the best title out of all of them. The Disney Diversity and Inclusion Manager, Vivian Ware.
Last summer, we removed all of the gendered greetings in relationship to our live spiels. So we no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've provided training for all of our cast members in relationship to that. So now they know it's hello everyone or hello friends. We are in the process of changing over those recorded messages. And so many of you are probably familiar when we brought the fireworks back to the Magic Kingdom, we no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we say dreamers of all ages. And so I love the fact that it's opened up the creativity, the opportunity for our cast members to look at that. We have our cast members working with merchandise, working with food and beverage, working with all of our guest facing areas where perhaps, we want to create that magical moment with our cast members, with our guests. And we don't want to just assume because someone might be in our interpretation, maybe presenting as female, that they may not want to be called princess. So let's think differently about how do we really engage with our guests in a meaningful and inclusive way that makes it magical and memorable for everyone.
And what if I told you by doing this, you were making it not magical, not memorable for a large swath of your customers? That you're excluding now the majority of your customers. I thought you were about inclusion. This is, that's a thinker. All right, dreamers of all ages. Next up, we have Disney's Activism partner, Nadine Smith of Equality, Florida.
And so when we react to this, a lot of us are reacting from the pain we experienced of being isolated and stigmatized in school. But we're also reacting from the reality that when they can erase you, when they can criminalize your existence, when they can demonize who you are, the next step is to criminalize you and take your kids. And we're already seeing that in Texas. So the slippery slope between these ugly messages, emanating from legislative leaders in our state, and then amplified by our governor, whose spokesperson immediately began calling everyone who opposed this bill groomers, aka pedophiles.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about this one, because this person seems to think that this bill that was just passed in Florida means that they're going to come and take away kids from parents. Disney, what are you doing? What? Like I said before, if you're upset that you can no longer teach kids from kindergarten to 3rd grade about sexual identities, then maybe it's time to kill the beast.
Bring your guns, bring your knives, save your children and your wives, will save our village and our lives.
Anyway, my name is Swamp, and I'm sorry that this wasn't really a funny episode, but I felt like it needed to be shown. Because this is much worse than I thought it was. We all knew that Disney had been getting woke, but this is much, much worse. I rarely am shocked by things anymore, but this actually shocked me that they have this many people like this. And they're all very high up in the company. I say, if you've already bought them, continue to enjoy your Disney classics, but going forward, I personally will not be giving any more money to this company. But that's just me. So if you liked the video, like, subscribe, comment, let me know about how it's incredibly bigoted of me to not want adults having discussions with other people's kids about sex, and that I am dehumanizing and criminalizing people's identities. I don't know, whatever. I'm a bigot. What do you want?